Thank you so much for joining us today to learn a little bit more about Best Lawyer's new ChatGPT app. My name is Justine Robinson. I'm the Senior Manager of Research and Development here at Best Lawyers. And I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items before handing everything over to Phil and Brett. The first item is that the webinar is going to be recorded and it will be automatically sent to you via email after the webinar ends. So everyone is going to receive the recorded copy. Additionally, I want to point out a few items at the top. Our chat function has been turned off for this webinar because we do have so many attendees. But if you do have any questions at the end of the presentation, we do have that Q&A function at the top where you can submit any questions and we will follow up with you afterwards. Additionally, if you did submit any questions ahead of time, Phil and Brett will incorporate them into the presentation and get some of those answers to you at the end. I will go ahead and hand this over now to our CEO, Phil Greer, and CRO, Brett Peterson.
Thank you so much, Justine. Appreciate everybody joining us today in your lunch hour, if it's Eastern time zone. So my name's Phil Greer. You guys have gotten a lot of my emails over the years. I've been with Best Lawyers for over 21 years. It's been great getting to meet up at firm locations, at the different LMA events, and I hope you've been at some of the speaking engagements that I've had recently. We've been doing a lot of exciting things internally with AI. I just finished another speaking engagement, and the takeaway is whatever you're doing with AI, double it, and you'll find out how addicting it is and also how much you can gain from it, and encouraging that transparency and work from the top. Anyway, I'm excited to talk to you guys about what we're doing. We're really happy about the ChatGPT app, and I can't wait to get started. Brett, I'll hand it over to you for an introduction, and then we'll kick off.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. This is Brett Peterson. I'm the CRO here at Best Lawyers. I've been here about a year, but have over 2 decades in the legal industry, and really excited to share this with you today. We're going to give you some insights along with sharing the app, and just based on the attendance of this webinar and then the LMA conference, there's a lot of pent-up demand to understand how people can leverage AI. So we hope you get a lot out of this today. So here's what we're going to cover today. What's happening in the market, the macro shift that we're seeing in client search behavior. What's relevant? You've heard a lot of acronyms, SEO, AIO, GEO, what they mean and how they fit together. How people are actually searching for lawyers today, why we built the app, and then we're going to go live. So what's happening in the market? There is a significant shift in the market, as everybody knows, in terms of how to find a lawyer. ChatGPT usage to research attorneys has actually tripled in the last 2 years. It's now the #2 platform that consumers say they use to find an attorney. And also interesting, legal is the #1 professional services topic showing up in the results. But maybe the most significant point is the 94% figure. So most ChatGPT users are still verifying what they find on Google. So what we're saying is AI is not replacing Google. It's actually becoming the starting point for research. And it kind of acts like a pre-consultation research. People are using AI to really understand their situation before they reach out to a lawyer. So maybe the takeaway here is AI may start the journey, but clients still validate what they find. So where did the citations come from? I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that AI tools only look at your website, and they're not. About 83% of all AI citations come from third-party sources, not your website. So that matters because your website is what you're saying about yourself. Third-party sources are what others are saying about you. AI tools are looking for signals they can trust. So directories, rankings, editorial sources, recognized publications, and other outside validation. So a strong website is still important and always will be. It's not enough just by itself. In other words, the website's making the claim, and then the third parties validate that. It's just one of many signals that AI is looking at. AI tools frequently pull from comparative rankings like a Best Lawyers or others. not only because of the third-party validation, but also because of the format. It's easy to understand and easy to summarize. So if someone says, who are the best attorneys in this practice area in the city, AI structured information can compare it. So that's why, formats like Best Lawyers and Employment Law in Dallas can be useful. But it's not the only signal that matters. It's the peer review, it's the third party authority, structured data, and editorial independence all work together. So AI rewards information, if you will, that is structured, credible, and easy to compare. So why does this matter? And it actually has a unique application here in the legal services. Legal is different from most industries. So, like for instance, hiring an attorney has high stakes. It could be your job, a business, money. A lot of things are at stake. So because that AI platforms are more cautious with legal intent, they need stronger authority signals before they recommend a source, and that's true of financial, the medical field as well. So we use the term, you might have heard the term, your money or your life. So in the context of search or marketing, it really refers to topics where bad information can have serious consequences. It's also why AI referral traffic can be so valuable at the end of the day. These users often arrived after already having a conversation about this issue. So they're high intent customers that are eventually coming to visit your website. So they're really not just browsing at that point. They're moving to make a decision. And they're trying to validate the research and take some kind of action.
So as we jump in and talk about what's relevant today, we want to say some of the terminology. I think we can start with that. And I also want to do a shout back to that last one, your money or your life. That's a great SEO phrase. If you've learned nothing new, if you haven't used that before, you can go to your board and say, we are writing your money or your life content. So let's talk about the terms that we're all talking about. We have SEO, AIO, GEO. I imagine everyone has heard at a minimum SEO. For the last couple of years, you've been hearing at the different conferences and speaking engagements, AIO, and now the GEO has been recent. So search engine optimization. This is stuff that we've been working on for the last almost 2 decades now. It's that helper metadata. It's that good HTML coding on your website. It's good website practices. It's sitemaps, keywords, linking content to authoritative domains, writing thought leadership. Honestly, at times, probably flooding the internet with enough brand market content that you lead to the top. Well, AIO, it's that natural evolution. When ChatGPT entered the scene a few years ago, it had to feed, it had to get data somewhere. And that was the first stop, SEO. And it's actually kind of interesting to think, why would AI have done that? It's because it has to figure out how to solve problems and speak to end users. So SEO is pretty important for that. You already have a set of structured data, a lot of content. Google's already ranking it, Bing's already ranking it, and now it can go in and pull all this together. So that's that artificial intelligence optimization. The last thing we're talking about now is generative engine optimization. This is one aspect of AIO. It's really about the structured content. Brett was talking about earlier about citations and quotes and recognition. It's that authority trigger. It's the thing that gets structured in a way that puts your content more likely to be pulled into an AIO environment. That would be like an LLM, like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. So I want to talk a little bit about why SEO is still important. So you may have heard a few articles and conferences, people saying SEO is dead. I don't actually believe SEO is dead. SEO is the foundation, but it's not the ceiling. So SEO has been strong in assisting AIO, and that's something Best Lawyers has always taken very seriously. When we first got into this digital market space, when we launched bestlawyers.com, our goal was at that point to get people to go to bestlawyers.com. Like many of you all, you launch your website, you want people to go directly. And then Google changed everything because that's how the internet started to find data. So you need it to be ranking highly in there. And now AIO is playing that next role. And it's still important. You can look at some of the studies. For instance, 94% of Google AI overviews. So when you go to Google and you search now and you get the Gemini result at the top, that's that AI overview. We've been seeing that for a few years. They cite at least one URL from the organic top 20. SEO content in traditional Google is important. And if you look at how that's been trending with overlaps of the AI overview and the organic ranking, it's been increasing. So for the last few years, it's been a 32 to 55% increase of overlap across 9 industries. So what that's meaning is the SEO work you're doing is feeding your structured content in a way that's interesting for these AI systems to see, and then AI is playing a role in that reasoning. And so then it takes us to GEO. So let's talk about that. So GEO, that generative content, how does it all come together? How does SEO go to AIO, go to GEO? Studies show that 40%, you get a 40% AI visibility uplift. Again, what Brett was talking about, statistics, citations, quotations, things that give you AI signals, especially from third-party places like Best Lawyers and other ranking houses, authoritative content and websites, getting on the right news articles when you're doing press releases. Those are all important. And GEO is a way for you to structure that and to actually accomplish some of your actual AI roadmap goals. So, when we talk about what we're doing in ChatGPT at the app at the end, we show the live demo, it shows the progression of how we view this from starting with getting our content in an organized, structured manner, and then getting served and ultimately becoming the compendium. If you're wondering, oh my God, we're talking about SEO and AIO and all these EIEIOs, and it's complicated, and we're just trying to work on an SEO strategy. Now we're behind. I'll tell you something that's really exciting. Everyone on this phone, everyone in this meeting has a lawyer or firm that is recognized in Best Lawyers. We have already built the start of getting visibility for your lawyers and law firms. By simply filling out your profiles of lawyers and your profile for your law firm on our site, you are naturally being fed into these engines. You can actually go back to your board and say, hey, I've updated all our profiles on bestlawyers.com and best law firms. This is working towards part of our AI roadmap because we're getting generated, optimized content that is structured for this. And now we're actually directly in ChatGPT because of Best Lawyers. So the good news is, you already got a win. And all you got to do is just fill out some profiles. So I think we should talk a little bit more about what this means.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So maybe let's make the shift into how people are actually searching for lawyers. It's really about meeting the clients where they're at and then using the language that they actually use. So Gartner had predicted, and they're right, that traditional search volume would start to decline, traditional being Google. Fortunately, at Best Lawyers, we've seen the opposite of that. Our organic impressions are up, organic web traffic is up, but the AI referral traffic is up significantly. So the lesson is not that AI replaces SEO, it's that SEO, AI optimization, and generative search all kind of feed together. But another key of this slide, it says that 86% of organic clicks are not branded. That means they're not necessarily searching for Best Lawyers by name. They're searching for a legal problem, a practice area, a need, and Best Lawyers still shows up. So that's the kind of visibility firms should care about. I would say the takeaway here is it's just not a SEO versus AI. It's they're kind of all interconnected. And then what's actually different? For my opinion, this might be the most important concept in the deck that we're presenting today. So Google and AI both try to understand what the user wants. In fact, Google's been doing semantic searching, so you can if and or buts in your query. But the difference is what they give back to you. So Google will usually give you ranked list of links. So you have to open up the pages, compare the sources, decide what matters. Whereas AI gives a synthesized answer and does more of the work for the user. And that's kind of a game changer. If AI is summarizing the answer, then sources and trust become even more important. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're staying at a hotel and you want to go out to dinner. So you go down to the concierge desk and you ask for recommendations. If they gave you a sheet, several sheets of restaurants, they're acting like a Google search at that point, right? And then you have to go back on and go look at Yelp and Google reviews and look at their website, look at the menus, look how close they are to the hotel. But if the concierge gave you two or three choices, they're actually acting like AI at that point. They've already validated it through third parties as to what are the best fits for your query, the type of food that you like to have that night. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to take those two or three restaurants, you're going to go back onto Google and you're going to search Yelp and Google reviews and look at the menu. So that kind of just, I felt like that's a good parallel to understand how AI is operating at this point. So AI, Google gives options. I think AI gives guidance. So the last point I would like to make is just why is legal uniquely exposed to natural language processing? So clients, they don't always know the right legal terminology. They describe what's happening to them. They say things like, my landlord is keeping my security deposit, or I was fired by employer, or I need someone who's handled cases involving executive. That's NLP, that's natural language processing. And AI is good at understanding those full situations, and it can process, say, a location, a practice area, facts, complexity, intent, kind of all at once. And that means the search is becoming more like a conversation and less like a keyword exercise. And you notice if you've used ChatGPT, as we all have, you can ask further questions. You can keep drilling down further and further. Whereas Google, you have to reset and redo that search again. So I think for the law firms, the opportunity is to make sure that the attorney profiles and firm information are complete, they're specific, and easy for AI systems to understand. In fact, one recommendation I read is like you should create your website to match the types of questions that your clients are asking about your services. So clients search by describing their problem, AI understands those descriptions.
So why we built the app, we have had a history of being first at technology, first at insights, and first in this rankings organization. So when we think about the more than 40 years, Best Lawyers was founded with the sole purpose of helping people find the right lawyer for the right need. The medium has changed along the way, but the mission has not. We were founded in 1981, and we started releasing a peer-reviewed book every single year, our first one published in 1983. And then in 2005, I joined the company, built our first true search engine on bestlawyers.com, put profiles live so that people could either buy the book still and read it, or they can go to bestlawyers.com and find lawyers and firms that make the rankings on a yearly basis. And we continue to expand. And the story is we were always at the first. We were the first to launch legal rankings in the U.S. We were the first to do online platforms and search engines. We put a lot of effort early on with SEO, and we continue to meet where the customer is and how people are finding lawyers. So in Q4 of last year, that's how soon it was. ChatGPT opened up and said, hey, we've got a new app store and we're going to allow people to write apps for it so they can put their products directly into the system. We jumped on it. Again, first adopters. So when we talk about this app, why us? Because we're the first, and that's important for us. We think about where the future is going and how people want to find legal talent. So we're the first legal search app on ChatGPT, currently the only one in there, and we're really excited about it. It's a really cool concept because so many people are using ChatGPT and these different LLMs. So what gives us an advantage? Well, AI weights most heavily what Best Lawyers has been doing since 1981. We are peer-reviewed. We're editorially independent. We are structured content, consistent professional data, practice areas, firm affiliations, jurisdiction, recognized years. And what is really important, I go back to one of the opening numbers that Brett mentioned, was almost 83% of AI citations come from third-party sources. And we are a third-party source for legal recognition. You know, the infrastructure was already there. We'd always been building towards this. And I'm excited that we continue to be at the forefront. And I think at this point, we've talked enough about the why. I think we should talk about what does the actual look like. Let's get into a live demo. Before we jump into the live demo, let's talk about the steps. How does one actually connect to the Best Lawyers app inside of ChatGPT? So You open ChatGPT, desktop browser or mobile app. You'll search for lawyers in the App Store. You may not even know there's an App Store in ChatGPT. We're going to show you all this in a minute. If it's your first time, you'll want to connect the app, then run a query, and then start sharing it. So Justine is actually going to share her screen, and we're going to walk through this together. Feel free to ride along on your own computer or watch us through this process. So as you see in the top left-hand corner, open your sidebar, and you'll find a section called Apps. Type simply lawyers, and you'll see the only thing that comes up here is the Best Lawyers app. Now, Justine says start chat because she's already connected. If this is your first time using the ChatGPT app, Best Lawyers app, you'll actually have to say connect app. But once you do that, you can hit start. And Justine, let's walk through an actual example of what it would look like to do a search. So, good example, Brett is actually in Dallas, Texas. And this one, he's opening a small business. We all know he's not going to because Best Lawyers is the ultimate place to work. So we're just showing as an example. You're not
Just
going
an
anywhere, Brett.
example. Yeah.
Just an example, not going anywhere, Brett. What's
Yeah.
really cool, the first thing you see is these are our actual cards. When you go to bestlawyers.com and you do a search on bestlawyers.com, these are the cards that show up. So it's familiar. It's the data that is in our system. It's actually being served from our MCP server. Happy to talk more technical offline, but I'll just leave it at that. So we have a little bit more information below. We actually have the ChatGPT response of some of the top lawyers that come first off, and it's a question. It creates that conversation. How do we help find the person we want? So I think, Justine, I think we probably want to narrow this down a little bit. So Dallas is a pretty big area. I've learned this since opening an office. We want to make sure we're near where Brett actually lives. He lives near Plano. So let's find a lawyer near him in Plano, Texas. So we're going to keep the conversation going. ChatGPT is going to filter through our data, and it's going to look for that similar set of he's opening a business, probably wants corporate law to get started. Here are some lawyers in Plano, Texas. So now we're down to 9 results. We have your match. We have your people. So this is exciting. And because we're hosting this directly on our servers, we continue to have the data up to the minute, up to date, and we control the actual end data from our server, and we help serve it through the ChatGPT app so that more and more people who are using it will find your lawyers, your firms, and hopefully lead some business your way. Let's do one more fun search to talk more about an actual issue that may have happened. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm in Augusta, Georgia, those who know the Masters, and I guess I got seriously injured at the Masters by a rogue golf ball. And it's sorry I'm happy. It's sorry it happened because ChatGPT is nice overall, but it knows the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, and it knows it needs to switch from business law to personal injury litigation. It absolutely needs to help me in this matter. So we have some lawyers that come up, and now it can help serve my needs. So it's that conversation, it's that directive way of doing search that is changing, and it's built directly into Best Lawyers, excuse me, built directly into ChatGPT. One of the cool things too is you can actually click on any of the profiles. You can pick one, Justine. Any of the profiles, it goes directly back to our website, to our content, to the things that you're filling out for your profile. So when you say update, fill out, expand your profiles, here is the place to do it. Now, I know it's overwhelming. You may have hundreds of lawyers, lots of profiles. Great things about us is we have other tools internally at Best Lawyers, such as Smithy AI, designed to help you fill out GEO specific targeted profiles so that you're not just copying and pasting the same ones you're getting from your website. You're actually creating profiles that is trained on our data. We know about your lawyers, your firm, the practice, and we're gathering data from your website and what you're saying about an industry. And we're creating a unique profile that you can then share with others. And your increase of authority, your AI signaling only improves. Justine, thank you so much for sharing the ChatGPT demo. I hope you guys had the opportunity to see it on your own side. If not, you can do that live offline. And yeah, and Brett, we'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, so we have about 5 minutes left, and we did actually get some questions ahead of the webinar, and I thought we would kind of use this time to cover those. The first is, and there's we probably got 8 of these similar questions, and that was, how do I create a stronger profile, or how am I How can I be discovered on AI? If I'm doing truck accidents in Florida, how can I be the one that shows up in AI? And a lot of that was covered already. For me, it comes down to three things. One is consistency. Your name, address, phone, these things need to match exactly across your website. Um, Differentiated story, right? So you don't want to just paste the same bio over and over again. Phil already mentioned Smithy AI. What a great tool to help create those unique profiles. But if you paste the same profile over and over again, that's not going to help. It actually this would help you to avoid the duplicative content and signals authenticity to AI. And the last is just completeness of your profile. You have to have a profile. You have to have an active profile to start. But you want to make sure that you're filling everything out, and that will certainly help. I would also make this suggestion to everybody is your client success manager that's assigned to your account can do a health check, and you guys can review your profile together to see if there's any weaknesses or areas to optimize.
I do want to add one more thing. Another question that came in, it's important to know. People are asking, what does this cost to be in the ChatGPT app? It doesn't cost anything. If you have lawyers and firms, everyone in this call has lawyers and firms, recognized and best lawyers. They are visible in ChatGPT through the app. It doesn't cost anything. So they're already available. We're excited to extend our data set and that visibility, and we appreciate your extended participation. I will say for better performance on all of your AI needs, do fill out your profiles. And that's the things that Brett has been talking about, and fill it out with that unique content.
Yep. Another question came around kind of AI governance. It was, how does ChatGPT handle copyright and plagiarism when generating content? So I'm going to hand that hot one over to you, Phil.
Yeah, so I can't speak to the ChatGPT governance of what they do with plagiarism. I can speak to our content. So we use Smithy AI on our internal system. So when you're building out your profiles, you can either write them yourself. You can use Smithy AI to help them become generated from your own website and our trained data. And then everything that we build, we store. It is on our servers and in our data. So when we even serve the App Store, those are our profiles, our lists. Now, obviously, ChatGPT, like every LLM, is going out there and learning from these types of AI signals. But when it comes to how they reuse data, I can't speak to that governance. I think that's a question everyone has about all of these LLMs as they're going off and gathering more and more data sets.
Yep. And the last question was just about website traffic, I believe. And so that at a very high level, in the last 12 months, Best Lawyers has enjoyed about 13 million unique visitors to the website. And it's actually spiking. It's actually going up. And so these would be the high intent customers. Again, we can work with you to understand what it looks like in your jurisdiction, your metro, and your practice area. But the website traffic is very, very strong, and a lot of the investments that we've made are really paying off here.
Yeah, I want to highlight that a little bit. If you listen to any study and maybe you're experiencing your own law firms over the last 2 years, people have been saying our website traffic in general has been decreasing 20 to 30% for each company and all across all different verticals and industries. Best Lawyers website traffic is only increasing. The amount of work that we are doing is driving more traffic to our main domain, bestlawyers.com, and our other company, bestlawfirms.com. And the AI usage is blowing out the roof as well. So we have been continuing to invest in this and the strategy. And by being a part of it, you get to go back to your board and say, hey, checking this box on part of our AI roadmap, and we can talk about what's next in our AI future here at firm XYZ.
Yep. So as we wrap up, we wanted to offer up this kind of three-step action plan. What do you do next after today? So the first thing you should do is use it. Do what Justine did. Get the app in there, run some queries for your lawyers, your firms, ask some of those questions, those natural language kind of questions, and see how the results appear. Share it, send the app to clients, to friends, everybody. Get the word out that they can use this, and then talk about it. Post about it on LinkedIn. Tag Best Lawyers, and we'll amplify those firm posts from recognized attorneys.
I want to say one final thing as well. This launched last week, like literally last Monday, where it's so new. We're at the precipice of so much additional change. So we're going to be releasing updates to how the conversation works inside of our MCP server, how you can ask more detailed questions, narrow down more closely into the result sets. We are iterating on the ChatGPT app every single week. It's in all of our sprints, and we're excited for new features. If you find things to be interesting or things that you think, oh man, love to have it narrowed down in a different way, like send them to us. Help@bestlawyers.com. We'd love to learn more. The other thing I'd say is I've been on a little bit of a talking tour recently. We're doing a lot of things with AI internally at Best Lawyers. So I've actually met with some firms. I'm doing another presentation soon about things we're doing with an app store I built internally. So we actually built a Best Lawyers app store, and it's allowed each of our department heads and our departments to start vibe coding. So there's some really cool stuff we're doing outside of releasing our recognitions and rankings. If that's something you're ever interested in just learning about, reach out to me. You can reach out to help@bestlawyers.com. Again, I've speaking on panels. I'm interested. I'm happy to talk more on these things. It's a wild world, and we're all trying to figure out how AI plays a role. And I think whatever you're doing, you can double it. And I'd love to be part of that conversation with you to help walk you through it. So thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate your time. Hope you guys have a good rest of your lunch hour. Justine and team, thank you so much for hosting, for organizing, and what a great turnout. As I say internally, go team go. I'll say to you guys as well, go team go.